finished Ezekiel, started Jeremiah, and we kind of went through this chart with Jeremiah, finding Jeremiah on here on the chart of the Old Testament kings and prophets. And we found out that he started his ministry, if you will, we found out that he was possibly, in verse 1, the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah. We figured out that Hilkiah was the Hilkiah of the priests. There was a Hilkiah that was the chief priest during Josiah's reign, and when Josiah decided to go to that the temple needed a renovation job, he was told Hilkiah to go, do a financial accounting of the funds to find out, if there were funds for renovating the temple. And Hilkiah, the priest, was doing that, and he found a copy of the Scriptures, the Old Testament up to that time. So, and Hilkiah is mentioned back there in 2 Kings chapter 22. So we figure that Hilkiah in Josiah's reign is probably the same Hilkiah who is Jeremiah's father, okay, of the priests that were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin. Okay. And that's a logical conclusion there. And to whom the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah, it came the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. And we know that Josiah was 6 years old when he began to reign, and so this is 13th year of Josiah's reign. So Josiah is 19. 6 plus 13. Yeah, 19. Higher math. 19 when the word of the Lord came to Josiah. Unto Jeremiah. Okay, get the name straight here. It also came in verse 3. It also came in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Now you can find on this chart the bottom in the middle section, the bottom red line are the kings of Judah down there, and we can find you can find Josiah down there. Okay, he was the son of Ammon, who was the son of Manasseh, who was son of Hezekiah. Ahaz down there, and Jotham. Okay, but Jeremiah comes right in the middle of Josiah's reign, and about 95 years after the northern 10 tribes were taken into captivity by the Assyrian Empire. Okay? So, we've got the Assyrians came first. The Babylonians were actually, captured. Actually, they were part of the Assyrian Empire. The Babylonians were, and Judah and Benjamin at this time, they're in danger, not by the Assyrian Empire, but they're in danger by Egypt, and this time by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians. Now the Babylonians were defeated the Egyptians were defeated in 605 BC. That's kind of down here at the start of the captivity, the Battle of Carchemish. And so Judah and Benjamin are in danger during this time that Jeremiah was called to preach. Okay? So in the days of Jehoiakim, Jehoiakim didn't last. Let's see, where did Jehoiakim went? Okay, Jehoiakim, he didn't last very. He rent into the 70-year captivity. Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, unto the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah. You can find all of these kings down here. The kings are in the more red spot than the captivity. Are we following all this? Yeah. And unto the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Okay? So, and we've got about a that works out to, what, 40 years that Jeremiah was preaching, okay? Roughly. And he came around in about 627 to 629 BC, somewhere around in there. And again, depending on which Bible scholar's timeline you want to follow. They're, pretty close, but like I said, this chart shows 627. My Bible up here in the margin shows 629. Yeah. So, carrying away. So, all of this happens. Judah and Benjamin are in danger. The Babylonians are getting more and more powerful, okay? And conquering everything. They're even taking over the Assyrian Empire. So then, at this particular time in 627, 629, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, here's again, Jeremiah is the son of a high priest. So he is, he is, or he could be, a priest at at some time, in his future, if you will, just because he was highborn. He was a descendant of Levi, and remember, all of the priests of Levi had their little section in Ezekiel's future temple. So, word of the Lord, here's Jeremiah. Lord speaks to Jeremiah. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And, God can say the same thing about us. Before he formed us in the belly, he knew us. Okay? He knows us. And it doesn't matter, how many thousands of years, you want to go back. When he created the earth, okay, 7,000 or so years ago, young earth, go with young earth, and not 332 billion years ago. You can never get, no matter how many billions of years you want to add on to the age of the earth and say, oh, God did not create it, it was a big bang. No matter how many billions of years you want to add on, you cannot come up with enough time to do what God did in 6 days. He did it in 6 days, okay? For the non-believers, it took them, trillions and trillions and, anyway. But back when God created the earth, okay, before I formed thee in the belly, he knew us. He knew Jeremiah. Okay? He knew everything going on in the world today. He knew about COVID way back then. Okay? He knew about all this stuff way back then. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. Okay? I separated you. You're separated. You're made holy, if you will. Okay? And here's again. He's formed. He's been sanctified. He's been chosen. Okay? Jeremiah was chosen. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Way before he was even born, he was ordained a prophet, sanctified, chosen, ordained a prophet. God had him picked out. Okay? God has, each one of us, he has a purpose. He has something picked. He had Nebuchadnezzar picked out, okay, before he was formed in the Bible, to do what God needed Nebuchadnezzar to do. And that was to punish, if you will, to chasten the children of Israel for their idolatry. He used a heathen king, emperor, to chasten the Jewish people. And so before then. So I ordained, then said I, here's Jeremiah, again, here's, God speaking to him, and he's hearing this thing. Oh, he's a little frightened here. Okay? Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. Okay? And again, we don't know exactly how old Jeremiah was. Okay? When was Jeremiah born? Was he usually in those days, okay, the priests were called, if you will, or they kind of a tradition, they started their duties when they turned 30. Okay? Was Jeremiah 30 years old? Was he a young man? Was he a teenager? Okay, back then. We don't know. It doesn't say. Doesn't say how old he was. But again, kind of the tradition was, Jesus did not, if you will, officially start his ministry until he was 30 years old. And other folks, priests and higher ups, if you will, princes, rulers in the kingdom didn't start until they were 30 years old. But, okay, so again, Jeremiah could have been 30, but he also could have been a teenager. Remember, he's going to be in business here, doing his job of being a prophet for 40 some years. Now, if he were 30, that would put him, in his 70s. If he were a teenager, or thereabouts, up until he's in his 50s or 60s, somewhere around there, we don't know. Your guess is as good as anybody else's. But we can, when we get to heaven, we can go ask him, how old were you when God spoke to you the first time? And I'm sure, like any, if you will, celebrity these days, we will want to go visit all of those celebrities of the Bible, like according to Daniel, we will get to visit Nebuchadnezzar, because according to him, thought is that he will be there in heaven, because he believed. Okay, so all those celebrities, we're going to be our fans and we're, hey, can I get your autograph here, Nebuchadnezzar? Can I get your autograph, Jeremiah? No, and going to ask all those questions of them. Of course, we probably won't because we're going to be too busy worshiping God. But we will have eternity to ask and talk with them, and and listen to, if you will, their Sunday school lessons in heaven. Can you imagine that? Heaven having Sunday school lessons with all of those famous teachers back there. Anyway, just kind of one of those wild thoughts that you get. Huh?
You'll be teaching up there.
Yeah, probably not. There's better teachers. There's better teachers up there, now than.
Pretty good.
So, I cannot speak, for I am a child. He doesn't have, if you will, speaking experience. Or because he says, I'm too young. I just don't have any speaking experience. Now, of course, one of the favorite stories about my life that I like to tell is that, when I in school, grade school and all that, I did not volunteer. I was not a one of those guys that talked in class at all. I didn't raise my hand when the teacher asked me a question. I kind of sit at your desk and the teacher's asking questions. You kind of head down, like you're reading, and I didn't talk it. Huh? What was that? You say, yeah. And look at you now. Can't keep your mouth shut. But and then all of a sudden got to junior high school, and I decided to try out for one of the school play at Morgan Junior High School. It's middle school now. It's always going to be Morgan Junior High School. So I tried out for school play, and in the tryouts, you have to get up on the Morgan stage in there. I don't know how many of you ever been in Morgan's auditorium? It was built in the 20s. Yeah, way back then, it was kind of a dark dungeon type place. Yeah, and so I got up on the Morgan stage and said whatever I was supposed to say for my lines, and the teachers who were directing the play were shocked because I could even speak first, and also because I was able to speak loud enough to be heard, at the back of the Morgan auditorium. I could be heard from back there, and they were shocked and surprised. Yeah, they never heard me speak, but I kind of was that way, and then up until then, and then after that, I started trying out for more plays, and I was
Were you terrified though when you first got up there?
Oh yeah, terrified. Well, and like pastors told us, he was what, knees knocking, nervous when he first got up to preach. Yeah, same idea here. Behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. Well, we only got one verse done, but that's where we'll quit for this week.